So, welcome everybody to our special edition of Topical Tuesday, where we will be going over sort of new updates and resources from Lumio. Here is the QRL or the for you to sign in. You can use the box or you can use the link to sign in. If not, we will have a attendance log at the end of the meet. So we are welcomed by Dan, who is now part of our team on EdTech, but used to work for Smart. So I will allow him to take over and sort of share everything that he has for us for all the Lumio updates. Do you want to share your screen?
Sure.
Okay. So I'll stop and allow you, and then you just let me know when you're finished.
Okay. All right. I'm going to move this just so I know it's working. All right. So thanks for the introduction, and you guys can all hear me good. So yes, as Stephanie was saying, I used to work for Smart, but now I'm officially part of the district team. I'm really excited to have kind of switched over. The work I'm doing now, the work I've been doing the last 2 years is the work I love to do, is like getting out to the schools. I know a lot of you have seen me out at your schools, and supporting the smart panels and the use of them. Probably one thing I should clarify for everybody is, I don't know if there's really messaging that went out that the contract with Smart did end at the end of September. So starting from October forward, we no longer have them as a training resource and a technical resource. So I was brought onto the team mainly for as a technical support, dealing with the hardware, working with the school technicians. But because of my experience also training teachers on Lumio and everything like that, I am working on training a couple of members of our team. We have two new people that started this year as well, Noel Elvire and Lee Arnold, who are going to start taking on more of the Lumio stuff.
Yeah, thank you.
Oh, okay.
Thanks.
So we have them coming on to kind of help, but obviously we don't have the manpower and ed tech to provide the kind of support that was provided by Smart. I mean, they had like at one point 10 people on the team or 9 that sort of divvied up the school district. So you'll see kind of the third bullet is we're going to have some asynchronous e-learning courses to help kind of keep new staff going, as well as staff who already kind of have some experience with Lumio or smart panels to maybe learn a little bit more, dig a little bit deeper. And we're going to work on leveraging courses that Smart has created. And so I'll show you a little bit of how that works, as well as, trying to create and support in other ways that we can. We will still be doing a Teacher Fest session, looking at probably just doing it on the Smart panel. It's kind of a lot to throw the Smart panel and Lumio at the new teachers. We just want them to be comfortable just using their panel to start off with, and then letting them know that they could start to dip their toe into doing some things with Lumio. But we just know there's just so much demand at Teacher Fest just to learn how to use their panels, which hopefully helps so that you guys aren't getting drug out of the media center, because they know you often are like the techie person maybe in the school, or the person that goes to that knows everything. Like you, I don't know if you guys remember, but I was formerly a media specialist, so I know you wear a lot of hats. You kind of get asked to do a lot of different things that might, the all duties as assigned kind of thing. So I know that anything we can do in ed tech to help provide them with the knowledge of using Google, using their smart panels, that hopefully makes the start of the year a little bit easier on you and your school tech. So I have a number of things I'm going to go through today. And Stephanie, how much time do I have? That was something I wanted to clarify.
Yeah, you have until about 3 o'clock.
Okay, cool. Sometimes I can get a little long-winded and go forever. So I get excited talking about all these fun things. But my goal now that I'm on EdTech is to really change a lot of things that I felt like I couldn't change when I worked for Smart. Now I get to kind of leverage my position and all the expertise I have and all the people I've met to try to do some new things. And one of those, along with actually Noel on our team, really helped push this, was getting a Lumio portal tile. So that's going to be one of the first things I'm going to show. And then I'm going to talk about a new feature in Lumio that everybody should be excited about. If you've used Lumio in the past, you realize that when you import into Lumio, it's just like a flat image for a Google slide or a PowerPoint or a PDF. Now you have the option to import them as editable objects. So that way you could resize images that get pulled in. If you already have a Google slide that has some pictures that the kids were sorting, it'll pull those in and those pictures are movable, and the text is editable. Now, like any import, I'll get into some of the specifics when I get to that slide. It's not perfect, but it is a lot nicer than having to always go back to your Google Slides and then re-import back into Lumio. So that's really awesome. I already touched on that we have some asynchronous e-learning courses I'll show you. A little reminder, because I think a lot of people forget that you can post lessons in Google Classrooms, and those can be asynchronous for students. So I'll just go over a little bit on how easy that is to use, and then some resources for staff on implementing. I've created some really good resources so people can, if they want to do a shout it out, they want to do a monster quiz, they can just go right to that section and remember how to do it and find the resources they need. So I'll dive in first with the portal tile. So one thing I like about this is it simplifies getting to Lumio. A lot of times teachers don't go to Lumio because they forget how they got there after they had their training. Smart was always teaching them to go to Google Drive and do new, more Lumio, which always seemed like kind of a lot to me, especially for people to remember. Now they can just go to Lumio on their portal. They can add it to their home. It'll show up at the top in their recents. And of course, they can bookmark Lumio once they've, set it up. So I like to teach people those tricks. The other thing is in just a Google tab, once you're signed into the portal, you can always just click the apps on those 9 dots or the waffle at the top and scroll all the way down to find Lumio. Honestly, I find those to be the easiest way. You don't have to deal with the whole new, more Lumio kind of bouncing down. And then always just recommending people just bookmark it. A lot of teachers I realize don't know how to use their bookmark bar. So I often show that. So if you have like a quick few minutes in a staff meeting, just remind them how to show their bookmark bar. And then that way they can have those common places that they go to just bookmarked right at the top. Again, I always try to find what's the fastest, easiest way to help them not lose time, have to like search for things or feel like they always have to go back to the portal to get to something. And Lumio also has a shortcut for typing in the address bar that I have up here underneath bullet 3, is you can just type lum.io and do a Chrome tab, and that'll also take you to Lumio. They've actually changed the interface a little bit. So I'll just show you what the new, although I'm signed in, so it's probably going to take me right into the signed in version. What I might do is an incognito window so that you can see what it would have looked like. When they click on that lum.io, they'll see this teacher sign in. There's also, let me actually just type it in because I think it'll actually give you another look too. They might see this page as well. And they would just click sign in and choose teacher or student. So this is a new look compared to what they had previously. And when students go to hellosmart.com, they're still going to see this. And actually, wow, they changed this. It used to always have people like kids with the iPad on the left. So that's actually changed just recently. So now, of course, I got to update all my pictures and screenshots so that it looks the same. But this is how the students would get in, just like before. So, and the students, of course, have access to Lumio through their portal as well. So a lot of people forget that. That's an easy way for students to get there, but also you can do it right through Google Classroom. Another new addition that was added at the end of the year last year is this: they can get to their link to their class by just clicking this little link and hitting copy, and you could post that in Google Classroom, and the students wouldn't have to type the class ID. If you see here, it actually includes the class ID in the link. So that's another time saver for teachers for getting the students in. And I have some of this in my cheat sheet that I'll be showing you guys. Of course, we don't really use QR codes. If we were like an iPad district, the kids could all just scan a QR code, but I would use Google Classroom or just have them doing that hellosmart.com and using the class ID to get in there. And yeah, so that's the Spark plan. So there is something I will let you know. We are not going to probably be doing the Spark plan. Of course, like all software companies, they come out with these new great features, and then they want to charge extra for it. And we in no way budgeted, since we are such a big district and so many users, to pay for something like that. We budgeted to buy the panels and to get everything that kind of came along with the panels. Um, we will find ways. I'm all about finding other ways to kind of leverage the same kind of thing. And my hope is that schools could start, if you do want to create shared libraries, is just to use Google Drive or I'll show you a method that I used using a Google slideshow or a Google site, just to post lesson links and something like that, to make it easier to share lessons with each other. Essentially what they were creating is, with this new Spark plan, is a way to create some shared libraries. So essentially there would be like a school Lumio library that could have subfolders for different grade levels. Easily could just be recreated within Google Drive, and using like a shared drive. So that's something too that, if schools get interested in that, because honestly, to get teachers using it, providing them with resources that have been vetted, it is probably the best way to do it. If they know they don't have to create something, but hey, somebody already has this really nice addition or subtraction lesson that I can put in Google Classroom, then that might be something, a way to kind of get them to leverage using Lumio. We still have Lumio for about 11 and a half years. So it's not going anywhere. It's not one of those programs like we've had Pear Deck or Nearpod or Cami or these other things that were like, we had it for a year, got everybody hooked, and then we couldn't pay for it anymore. We do have Lumio, um, and so it is still, I think, a great tool if you get an opportunity in front of your staff to share, something that they could use for extra engagement and collaboration with their students. Um, and often, I will say, the big win I had going out and helping in classrooms last year was kids who were like, "This is so much better than iReady." And it was just because they've been doing iReady so much. I mean, having something different really helps with behaviors and engagement and keeping them interested. And again, if we can try to build stuff, my hope, and I got to kind of probably try to work with curriculum more on this, is to start to build collections so you guys have access, or your teachers have access to already vetted lessons that they can just grab and use. Benchmark would probably actually be the best way, I think, to do that. I'm learning more and more how they do things now in this district, and it seems like if we could even put Lumio links in there, in Benchmark, along with a particular lesson, that could be another way to get more use out of it.
Yeah,
Yes.
Dan, we only have Benchmark for one more year. Yeah, no.
Not Benchmark. What's the Blender?
Oh, yes. Blender, yes.
I mixed those up. Thank
Okay,
you.
yeah.
They
Benchmark's
both start with the
the
B.
series, and it's only about
Yes.
one more year.
No, I was saying the wrong one. That's part
Okay.
of me being new again. Both of them start with the B, and I mixed them up. Blender would be a way, because that kind of houses a lot of the curriculum and resources. And I know Blender's not going anywhere. That's definitely sticking around. So thank you for bringing that up.
Yeah.
All right. And before I get too stuck on this, these are those, basically that was the how to get in with the portal. They sign in with Google. I do have a little link here for teacher account setup. If a teacher has never been in before, they basically just have to fill out a little form. The students also have to do that, so I have a help document for that as well. I believe when I click on this one's just for teacher, but I do have one for students, and my other cheat sheets that I'll show you guys. All right, so the cool thing about importing now PDF, Google Slides, and PowerPoints is that they are editable. So if you do it from my computer, you can choose a PDF or a PowerPoint. It'll try to recognize what's text and what's images and make them editable text and images that you can resize and move. So that is good if you've been using like a Google Slides or something like that for kids to like move things. You can create those, make digital handouts out of those. And again, like Google Slides were just recently added. Now that does say beta, and we know with beta that means it's not perfect yet, but I'm happy to see that it's coming along, because this was a roadblock in training when people realized like, oh, it imports, but I can't edit it in Lumio. I have to go back to Google Slides. One nice thing too is something that's always worked that people didn't realize is you can have linked text within your Google slide, and that linked text will work even if you just import it the original way. Um, so that's just something I always like to kind of share with people. But it's just under that import button. We will still, even though they now have that new tier that they want to charge extra for, they are going to still continue to add features like they are here, the editable files, and other things that are going to be beneficial for us. Um, and we're still trying to work on them, but I don't think they're going to bend on trying to give us the Spark plan for free. But you always got to try. So I'm going to keep kind of twisting arms if I can. But um, I really do think it's easier rather than have lots of places for people to go for things if we can start to leverage um, Blender as a way, because that's where people go already for everything. That'll probably be our better way to do it anyway. All right, so e-learning options. So what we've pulled in initially is a Lumio level 1. So this really is just getting them comfortable with Lumio. It's a very short course. I'll click on it just so you can kind of see sort of the directions or outline of it. And that's way too small. Let me make that bigger. So this does have 7 in-service points, and you have to have a Lumio account, and then you will use basically Lumio's Academy to complete this course. So Smart has created this Lumio Academy, which kind of makes it nice for us because we don't have to create a course and then change everything when Lumio changes their interface or adds a new feature. They will automatically change it within their academy, and it will save us a ton of time. So essentially, you'll complete these, you will take screenshots or save your certificates, and you'll be uploading those certificates to get the credit. So even if you've taken a Lumio course in the past, this is a new course, so it is something that you could leverage to get some in-service points and a refresher, or a little more experience with using Lumio. The other one is the Lumio Certified Trainer, which is what we ran for you guys last summer when we had those special media special courses. I would say I wouldn't really push anybody to start on one right now because it does end in May and it's a little bit more time consuming. Like anybody who did take the summer course, you have to create a video, you have to create a lesson that goes with it. We are going to kind of play that fun game of like if somebody doesn't get their certificate in time, they would just sign up for the next session and turn in their certificate in the next session. So there's ways we can always work it out if you don't get your certificate in time. But our worry is that somebody might start this and then we're waiting for Smart to send the certificate, and you wouldn't get your points when you expected to get them. You might not get the points till when we offer the course again. But these courses are going to continue to kind of be offered on a cycle. So I think these end in May, and then new ones would probably start in June. And we are also working because we know that the classroom teachers and the school techs could always use a little support with the stuff in the classroom. So we're creating an interactive classroom series as a team. So I'm building out a Smart Panels one that deals mainly with how to use your Smart Panel, how to use Smart Ink, and then resources for using some other features of the panel. On my team, Trent is going to be working on an audio enhancement one. So just basics on using the microphones and working with your audio enhancement system. And then because there's not a lot to projectors, we kind of tied it in with doc cams, and there'll be another short course. These will be like 1 or 2 points, but just nice for, hey, you have new staff, maybe admin or people kind of encourage them, hey, you want to be more comfortable with your equipment in your classroom and earn some points. Here's an opportunity for you, and especially because a lot of our schools have new technicians often. Some even don't have technicians when the school year starts. They're getting them partway into the year. This would be another way to get them some experience. And also I try, along with them, we have a couple of technicians on my team, to go out to the sites when there are new technicians and try to train them on troubleshooting the sound systems, the smart panels, the doc cams, and all the things that are going on in the classroom. So we're hoping to, have these asynchronous classes created for the June session, and just kind of keep an eye out for those, and something you can encourage your teachers You know, you may have some that want some summer hours. So just letting them know that there'll be these couple of Lumio courses in June, as well as possibly the Smart Panel one. Did I go past two here? No. So this other one is just a reminder, because I think people forget. I think when I was training, I found some teachers found it a little overwhelming to try to do a live lesson with the students. You know, I'm going to open my lesson. They're all going to try to join. I'm going to run around the room trying to get them all connected. And as I move a slide, it's going to move a slide for them. And it kind of puts a little bit of pressure on them, you know, especially if they're new with using technology. I'm finding that if they just take a lesson that's really like a lot of skill practice, like sorting games, matching games, ranking, some maybe digital handouts where the kids have to move some things around, and posting that in Google Classroom. And then the students would just go to that and access it maybe when they finish with iReady, or, you know, as a special breakout group. So maybe there's not feeling that pressure that we're going to have to connect everybody at once. This I found was really attractive to teachers, and all they have to do is go to their lesson, get the share link. They can also do it during a live lesson. I have a picture there, that darker image. They copy that student link, and then Google Classroom, they just create a new assignment, click that it's going to be a link, and just paste the link. Also, if they happen to be using like a Google site, or back in the day when we were doing Google Meets with kids, you could just post it that way. But now, you know, we're all pretty much in face to face. I would leverage Google Classroom. It really saves a lot of steps for them to be using everything. So, and also, I did mean to post in the chat. This is my presentation that I'm sharing right now. I hope. Let me click on it, make sure. Yep. And I have to joke. I did realize it's not Tropical Tuesdays this time, although I did put a little tropical scene in the top right of my thing. For those who got my presentation last time. So I also can have Stephanie send this out afterwards, along with knowing that there are links in this page as well. So one thing I'm very proud of is I created this Lumio implementation resource, and it's on our website. So a lot of people don't realize also we have a smart website, smart.palmbeachschools.org, and we have these Lumio guides that I've created. So I will put this also in the chat. Oops, try that again. And this is linked in that slideshow. So if you have opened the slideshow, this leveraging Lumio in the classroom, I'm going to click on the bottom with Google. Oh wait, no, that's not the right spot. I'll click it up here. I kind of felt like it'd be nice to have a resource where you could just have a table of contents that would link you to what you want to know more about. So you want to know more about importing resources, you click that and it takes you right to the importing resources. And I could go back, how to edit lessons, how to add YouTubes, how to do the activity dashboard, or the games, you know, things like that. So even for the games, you know, I have all the different games, videos from Smart, little demos of kind of what the games look like, and then I have a little cheat sheet of how to add that to their lesson. And so they can really kind of get an idea of what the different games are, and then the little bit of how to add them in. So if I go back, make it back to my table of contents. Went a little far there. Connecting students is where I have a little bit more on like how you could use the link in Google Classroom to get them to join your session, or to post the lesson. Stuff in the Lumio library, we have instructional audio, there's immersive reader, there's the infinite cloner, we have an equation editor. There's just tons and tons of resources that we have available for you guys and for the teachers. And so this thing is pretty massive. If I were to go to my Google Drive where I have this located, you'd see, I think it's like 90 pages long or something like that. Just to kind of cover everything you'd want to know about Lumio, as well as at the top here just takes you to Lumio's like 5 little categories for learning more about Lumio. Other great resources for your teachers. Here's what I was telling you about the teacher and student account setup for teachers who are trying to do it, but they want to kind of know what's it going to look like. I'm all about screenshots and trying to have everything, even how to edit when a kid messes up and puts a different name in. Oh, now we got to go in and fix the name because they used their student ID or they did something else. Um, Another thing I have in here, because a lot of people used to use Kami, is how to use Lumio for student handouts or annotate on PDFs. Rather than spend extra money on Kami, if they start leveraging Lumio and import those PDFs, the worksheets, things they would normally have students do on paper or they used to use Kami for, I have directions right here for how they can import that in and turn it into a handout and post it in Google Classroom. And I'm very excited. I get to be a part of this group that kind of hints new things coming to Lumio, and there's going to be even easier ways to gather the data and information like on the handouts and stuff like that. But currently, they just live in that lesson. So you just open that lesson, go to the handout, and they would see all the student work. How to use Google Classroom live session links and student share links. So that's what I was talking about before. How to sync Lumio on 2 or more displays, because sometimes you want to show the same Lumio lesson on 2 different displays. And then people that used to use Pear Deck, we have a crosswalk of, you used to do this in Pear Deck, here's how you can do it in Lumio. I'm gonna make one as well for Kami, just so people kind of realize like pretty much everything you could do, you can also do in Lumio. Like it is a transition, it's a transfer of skills, but it does save them having to pay extra money for something. And we already have a tool here that essentially replaces like Kami, Nearpod, and Pear Deck because it does all the same different things that they do. There might be little tiny differences, like, but enough that I think it makes it worthwhile. And since I only have a couple minutes left, the last thing I'm going to share, and this is a big disclaimer on this, I create lessons. When I was working for Smart, I created a whole bunch of lessons, mainly because I worked with a lot of the elementary schools. I'll put this in the chat for people. You could even just use it as your own thing, and you can put your own lessons that you're interested in using. Essentially, my disclaimer is, of course, things have to be vetted before you can share it with staff. That being said, pretty much everything in here is skill practice with ELA or math or manipulatives. None of it's reading passages or anything historical. It's all stuff that's basically for practicing your sounds, practicing spelling or parts of speech and things like that. By all means, I know you do have to view things before you would pass it on. Yes, Stephanie, do you want to say something?
I'm just typing in the box.
Okay. So a lot of it's just manipulatives and things that they could use. They just added a couple of new things as well. They have an interactive clock, an interactive 10 frame. I have a first grader, and I was in some first grade classes and already showed those to some teachers, and they totally loved them. So a lot of it's just really nice tools. And so just make sure that if you do use it, you need to kind of make sure that you've kind of looked over it or just hand pick. You can make a copy of this and delete whatever you don't want and make it your own. Because I think sharing wise, I have it, or you ask me for sharing if you, for some reason you can't make a copy, but you should be able to make your own copy. But a lot of these I created, and then some I just picked off the Lumio library. But some things I did create, like I created this clocks, times, and half hour, and pennies, nickels, dimes, and quarters. A lot of it because I have a daughter that's a first grader that was a kindergartner. I was just kind of making stuff for her to learn and play. I even created a fractions for primary grades. I have one on equivalent fractions, which actually I will brag has been the most downloaded lesson on Lumio. It's like over 5,000 or 6,000 now downloads.
Nice.
So although I don't get the recognition from Smart anymore, but I do get to see my number go up. So again, I mean, I feel personally a lot of these things are all pretty safe. It's multiplication facts, things that the teachers want to provide those kids who need extra practice and give them something different. And they know like, hey, it's not a website with advertisements and all these things. Most of these are just activities that they can do. And because I love providing cheat sheets at the end, I have kind of the directions for how to get logged in, how to start your lesson, how to connect your students. So I try to provide a ton of resources kind of along with this, and then teachers can use it. So to make it easy for people, I called it tinyurl.com Lumio for elementary. Because I used to be an art teacher, I created one for the arts as well. This one has like sheet music stuff. I have some of this is some basic art things, and then some music theory things. So your music teachers, if they didn't know these things existed, it gives them some little fun tools. And they just, I guess, started a thing with Flat for Education, with all these different blank scores and things that they would use. And I know the music teachers are heavy users. When I've been going around updating panels, I always see that kind of like front and center in their music rooms. So, sorry. All right, I went a minute over, but I just wanted to get you guys as much info as I can, and I hope that you guys have found this stuff to be helpful.
Oh no, this is definitely extremely useful. Everything, because you are right. When people come or they need technology and the ITSA or someone's not available, the media specialist seems to be the first one that they always go to. So, and then anything that you're always willing to share lesson wise, we can always take it. Does anybody have any questions while we are wrapping up for today for Dan about the boards, training, anything like that? Okay.
I just want to add, Amanda here, that, if you guys can share this either sometime now between now and the end of the year or the beginning of the school year during the meet the teacher or during our preschool is what I'm trying to think of. It's a great time to share this with your teachers so then they can create their beginning of the year lessons around some of the little technical things that the students have to go through. So as they're going through their syllabus or as they're setting up school classroom rules and stuff like that, if they are using Lumio or Google Classroom or something like that, that first week or two of school and incorporating this with it, it gets the kids familiar with it, and the teacher can then just run the rest of the year with their lessons without having to spend so much time at teaching the kids later on of, well, I just spent another hour at showing kids how to do something, when you could use it, front load it, and then you're good for the rest of the year.
Yep. Thank you.
Yep. And then the quick question about e-learning. So currently the Lumio, the links there, or they can search by the code, those are currently running, but they end at the end of May. And so the Lumio Educator 1 easily could be completed by then. I would just worry about the Lumio Certified Educator being a little time consuming if somebody's trying to get the points. I'd hate for somebody to be like, oh, I'm going to get the points, and then they're waiting on the certificate from SMART, and then they don't get it in time. Now, if they don't care when they get their points and they want to use this time to do it, then that's fine. But I just want to kind of give that disclaimer that we're getting towards the end, and then these will be offered again in June. And the smart panels, dot cams, and the audio enhancement, we're fine tuning those right now, and the goal is to have them available in June. It might be a little bit later than that if we don't have them quite ready. They're new courses, so we're trying to put them together and working with the PD department to get them posted.
Great. Thank you so much. And then a few things, don't forget, you should be working on your inventory. Your collection development is due May 10th. If you have any questions relating to collection development, the bulletin did just come out to the principals. Please email or contact Kimberly Bauer. She's the one and the go-to person if you need any help or any questions related to your collection development. And if you have not already, please, please, please fill out the end of the year data survey. We do look at the data, look about your feelings about the year, what, trainings you want to see, things like that. And then don't forget that every PD course in ELM has to be closed out by May so that you can receive your points for the school year. So if you've not done so already, please start closing out any of your PD assignments, completing them, so that you can earn your points. So we do have our date and place set for our Welcome Back Symposium. So our symposium will be in the fall, August 7th, and this year we are having it at Dwyer High School. They have just finished their remodel. It's a brand new media center. We are modernizing the different high school media centers throughout the different years. Then we'll trickle to middle and then eventually hopefully elementary. But we are in year 2 of the high school phase. So I'm very excited to be able to unveil the new look of their media center in the fall with you. Please go ahead and mark your calendars. It will be mandatory again this year for you to join us during this symposium. Keep tagging us on Twitter or X and show us all the wonderful things that you guys do and are doing. And leadership always is watching as well. So just remember that. It is time for us to close out this course with the other courses. So there is a Topical Tuesday reflection sheet that asks you to sort of think about all the different trainings, what has gone well, what have you used, and how you're going to use it for student success. It's only one. You want to be sure that you complete it so that you can get 20 points for this course. We have our last Topical Tuesday of the school year, which is going to be next week, our final one, and this is with the Mendel Public Library to go over sort of their summer reading and the summer resources that the county library has for the students over the summer. So please join us for our last session next Tuesday at 2:30, and I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to stop recording.